this is Danny. Welcome to Fat Girl Teaching. This episode is the first in a 5-part series on the basics of color theory. Throughout the next few videos, we'll talk about terminology, color relationships and interactions, mixing colors, and finally applying all of this knowledge to an actual design. In this episode, we're going to go over the very basic skeleton of color and how it works. First thing we're going to talk about here is additive versus subtractive color. Let me go over here to Illustrator where I have some examples already pulled together to kind of illustrate what we're talking about here. Now with subtractive color, it absorbs light. When light hits the object or hits the pigment, it absorbs either the cyan and the magenta, reflecting yellow, or it will absorb two of the other colors and reflect one another. It's made up of pigments that you add to one another. The more color that you add, the darker the color gets. So when you add cyan, magenta, and yellow all together, you can see here in the middle, you get black. This is a variation of the primary colors that we were taught, in grade school. CMYK, K stands for black here. This is our print color mode. This is what we as designers will be using for anything that we create that's going to go to print. It's also what is used when you are painting, when you are using colored pencils, anything that is physically based where you lay a physical color down. This is going to be subtractive color. Now, additive color is where light is used to create color. Additive color reflects light. So additive color is used on projectors used with your computer screen and your smartphone, your tablet. This color scheme is a little different from what we know. It's RGB. So you can see here, when light is reflecting rather than absorbing, red and green create yellow, and red and blue create this kind of purple here. And when all three colors are reflected together, it reflects as white. So you can sort of think about it where subtractive color, everything goes to black. Additive color, everything goes to white, like a white light. So lights go with computers, they go with our phones, but with the subtractive color, it's always, always, always going to be talking about a physical object. So while CMYK is a more accurate way of looking at colors, it's going to be easier for us to just kind of go with the color wheel as we know it. So we'll start out by talking about our primary colors. We're all familiar with the whole Roy G. Biv thing as far as the color spectrum goes. Throughout these videos, I'm going to be using a 12-piece color wheel here. So I have our blue, red, and yellow here kind of pulled out to show that these are our primary colors. Secondary colors are what happens when you mix prime colors. Actually, let's go back to prime colors. When we're talking about prime colors, what happens when you add them together is that they start creating other colors in and of themselves. So yellow mixed with red is going to create these warm colors here. Red mixed with blue is going to create the colors here, etc. But blue, yellow, and red themselves are their own pure colors. Once you add anything else to them, they start to become something else. So you always start with one of those bases. So speaking of adding the colors together, we're going to go over and talk about our secondary colors. So here we have purple, orange, and green. Purple is created by an equal mix of blue and red. Orange is created by an equal mix of red and yellow. And green is created by an equal mix of blue and yellow. So this is where we want to start talking about cool colors and warm colors. So when we talk about cool colors, we're talking about any color that has blue added to it, including blue itself. Cool colors tend to recede. The energy that they absorb and reflect isn't an energy that tends to grab the human eye and kind of get our attention immediately. So you can see this kind of, while I have this pulled out, it still kind of fades in the background. You still are drawn to these warm colors down here. Warm colors are any colors that include red and or yellow. And warm colors tend to stand out. There's a reason that like siren red is something we think about when we think about stop signs or police sirens or ambulances. It's a color that we recognize is a warning of some sort. When we talk about warm and cool colors, we're usually talking about how to mix them, how to use them in a cohesive way with one another. So with our secondary colors, those are the equal mixes of our primary colors. When we go over to tertiary colors, we're starting to get different proportions of color. So we have here our blue-violet, which has more blue than red. And then we have a sort of fuchsia here that has more red than blue. They're both still types of purple, but this color is much cooler. This color is much warmer. Then we have our red-orange, which has a little more red than orange, and our yellow-orange, which obviously has more yellow than the red. We have this sort of lime green here, or yellow-green, which, as you suspect, is more yellow than it does blue. And then we have a sort of aqua here, where there's more blue, but there still is a bit of yellow. Now, like I said before, cool colors are any color that includes blue, but I referred to this fuchsia here as a warmer color, and I would refer to this lime green here as a warm color as well. The reason that I say that is there is more red present here than there is blue, so this reads as much warmer than a pure purple would. You can see it jumps out more than the other cool colors do. The other cool colors recede. And lime green especially tends to kind of stand out and grab your attention because it has a lot of yellow present and not nearly as much blue. So this is just the very, very basics of some terminology for color, some things to look back on as we move forward, because we'll be talking about all of these colors and their relationships to one another as we move forward. So thanks a lot. I will see you in the next episode.